All right. Shalom. This is the brother Yawanathan about all the one coming at you with another lesson. Your spirit and power, Yahweh Shemal Shah. But first and foremost, as always, I want to start by giving all praises and glorifications to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone Well. Peace, love, salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching his word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom. All right, this is going to be a quick hit lesson through the spirit and power Yahweh Shemal Shah. All right. This is the scripture, 1 Corinthians 11 and 7. All right. And then I'm going to get it in the NLT. All right. Basically proving, all right, that it's actually talking about actual head covering, like a hat or, like a do-rag, skull cap, you know. Hey, we shouldn't have our head covered when praying and prophesying. But you got these bozos out here. All right, the most recent one is an Israelite group goes by the name of Masada. This dude. I don't know if he's the leader or not. He did like a 2 hour video or more hour video. Complaining on or throwing a bitch fit because we got on him about wearing a cap, wearing caps while praying and prophesying, man. All right, he got all in his feelings and made a multiple hour video, man. It just shows you Jake's are fucking emotional, man. Okay, because Jake don't like to be told nothing. They don't like to be told what to do. They don't like order. Okay, which because I brought this out in one of my last lessons. Going in the order of verse 3 right here when it says, I'm going to read. It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High. So that's the order, right? Because our head is Yahushua, okay? And Yahushua sanctioned Paul, okay, to be apostle of the Gentiles, man. So that's following order. Paul pretty much wrote a letter to the Corinthians, man. Okay, and this was one of them about men having their head covered, you know, praying and prophesying. Okay, I'm gonna get right into it. Let's drop down to verse 7. All right. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 7 says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head. It's plain, man. Okay, just by reading the regular KJV, that's plain, man. Ain't no fucking deep breakdown about it. Okay, you can actually read this for face value, man. Okay, but like I said, guys have a problem with order, man, especially from their own, someone that looks like them. But it was from the white man, then they all ears. It was from the goddamn devil, they all ears, man. Right? So it says, for a man indeed ought to not cover his head, for as much as he is the image and the glory of the Most High, but the woman is the glory of the man. Okay, so we're the glory of the Lord, man. Okay, and we ought not to cover our head. Okay, because it says you dishonor. Right, when you read verse, I'm gonna go ahead and read verse 5. Man, the family start at 4. Let's start at 4. All right, 1 Corinthians 11 and 4 says, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor of his head. All right, because remember, our head is Yahweh Shah, okay, and his head is the Most High. But it's actually talking about your actual head too, man. Okay, verse 5 it says, but every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered, dishonor of her head, because we know a woman supposed to have her head covered and wrapped, right? Or she dishonored you if she's your wife. Okay, it says, or her actual head. It says, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. Okay, which that's a shame. Like, shaving or you're naked, pretty much. That's a shame unto her, man. Okay, verse 6 it says, for if the woman be not covered, see, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman, see, to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. So she's supposed to cover her head, man. All right, so back to verse 7, it says, "For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image of the most, so like the image and glory of the Most High, but the woman is the glory of the man." So the woman is our glory, and we're the Most High's glory, the Israelite man. Okay, so we ought not to have our head covered praying or prophesying. Plain and simple. So let's get the NLT. All right, and from the blue letter. Blue letter. Okay, I'm gonna start at verse 4. The point is gonna really hit in verse 7. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 11:4 in the NLT, it says, "A man dishonors his head if he covers his head while praying or prophesying." That's plain. Okay, your actual head, if it's covered, you dishonor your head. It says, "But a woman dishonors her head if she prays or prophesies without a covering on her head." We know, again, women supposed to have their head covered. Okay, especially when praying. You know, it says, "For this is the same as shaving her head bald." That's a shame, man. Okay, because a woman, her glory tells you, in the same chapter, that her glory is her hair. Verse 6, it says, "Yes, if she refuses to wear a head covering," well, plain as day, a head covering, actual head covering, okay? For you bozos that like to wear hats, okay, and other head coverings while praying and prophesying, calling yourself prophets and men of the Lord, right? Or Israelites. It says she should cut off all her hair. See? But since it is shameful for a woman to have her hair cut or her head shaved, she should wear a covering. So she's supposed to wear a covering. The point, verse 7, "A man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping, like a hat." Like Sakari, man, Musa broke that thing up through the spirit, right? They were known for wearing hats while they was out there on the streets teaching. And they had a problem. They had a problem, just like Masada has a problem with us getting on them for wearing head coverings, man. Okay? It says a man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping, for man is made in the Most High's image and reflects God's glory, or the Most High's glory. And woman reflects man's glory. So the point being, all right, a man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping. Okay? And that includes teaching, as I read verses above. So that's plain as day, man. Can't get around it. For you guys that like to wear hats and shit, on the streets teaching. Okay, now if it had a opening, all right, like you had a visor, that's cool, you know, where it has your crown exposed. Even like a skull cap or a do-rag with your crown exposed, all right, or a mitre, you can wear a mitre, has your crown exposed. That's cool, man. But a full covering is not acceptable.